Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Brittany Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to The Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside normally Jason Collins and Kevin Walker right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network. Jay will be here soon. He has some business to take care of, but he said give him about 15-20 minutes and he'll be popping in. But what's going on, K-Walk?
All is well. A little different today, ladies and gentlemen. First time Britt and I've been on together by ourselves, but hey, this is what we do. We adjust. So we call audibles and we make it do what it do. So I'm looking forward to a great one, nonetheless, Britt.
Absolutely. It's a sports show. I love sports. K-Walk, I'm gonna ask you want to start with the sports show or the extracurriculars outside of sports topic we got going on?
Yeah, let's start with that, Britt, the latter part, because we know Jay's a sports guy. I'm not sure if Jay's all about the extracurricular that we're going to discuss, but definitely want to see what he has to say about that, if he does have anything to say about it. But let's start there.
So, guys, we gotta get a little serious, but everybody's been talking about it, so I figured why not us talk about it as well, because it does impact us as well. I know we talk sports, but life be lifing. That's what it is. So, as we all know, or if you don't know, Diddy recently came out. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call them, doesn't matter. Brother Love, maybe not so much, but it's too early. But he came out recently with a video basically apologizing from the previous video that came out, as we all know, of him physically abusing the singer Cassie. So I just want to get your thoughts, K-Walk, on I guess just the situation as a whole, and how do you feel about him coming out now saying that he apologizes?
Yeah, well, as a situation of whole, I mean, you look at it and it's just despicable. We've seen some of these entertainers, these professional athletes, and some videos that that surfaced. We talk about Ray Rice, back in the day, and that video that he had with his girlfriend in the elevator. And at that point, that was something that, very disgusting to watch. And then you see the same thing with Diddy. And we knew this story had already broken. It already came out. Cassie has come out and said this. And then they ultimately settled out of court in regards to this. There was an undisclosed amount of money that was settled. But we knew it surfaced because of the fact of the matter that Cassie has said it. I don't, you don't look at her to saying that this would happen. She would go through all that if it didn't happen. Now then the video surfaces and there are rumors out there saying that someone paid the hotel $50,000 to obtain that video. Then all of a sudden, it leaked somehow, some way. And we knew if that was the case, if it was in someone's hands, it was going to come out for the right amount of money. We all know how that works. As far as Diddy coming out and and apologizing, and I wish he would have come out and mentioned her name and apologized directly to her, because he did say he was sorry. He was disgusted. He said all the right things. There was one thing that was missing for me, that he didn't say directly to Cassie, I'm sorry for doing that. And I think that the only reason that this video came out is because he knew that there were no charges that were going to be, he wasn't going to face any charges going forward. One, they had
Right.
already settled out of court, and two, statute of limitations as well played a big part in
Mm-hmm.
that. I think that if this was something that was being investigated further, that surfaced, I don't know what he could have come out with to defend himself in that, other than what he said. But nonetheless, he came out and said he was sorry, he was disgusted, that wasn't him, so forth and so on. We all saw the video, so I don't need for me to repeat what he said. But again,
Right.
I wish that he would apologize directly and mentioned her name directly. Cassie, I'm sorry for what I did, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be a better person. Everything that he said was good. I know the lawyers from Cassie's side saying that, it wasn't genuine, it wasn't sincere.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are saying if he would have said her name, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. When I first saw the video, I said, why didn't he say sorry to her directly? So
Right.
it's just something, man, when you're a big figure like that, and then all of a sudden, you have all those other things were coming out, and his house is raided, and then his kids were
Mm-hmm.
in handcuffs as well. So it's just something that's piling on more and more. So I just wish he would have just apologized to Cassie, herself, and made it seem like he was truly sincere. But I just think that it was something that he knew he wasn't going to get into any more trouble by coming out and saying what he said.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he was just trying to save face.
Yeah, cool.
When he apologized. Because why all of a sudden apologize now? You're apologizing because the video came out.
Right.
And I think the reason why K Walk he didn't say her name, I don't think he could say her name. I think that was
Okay.
part of the settlement that they had. I believe so. I
Okay.
don't think he's able to
Didn't
no
hear that,
longer
but
mention that. I
okay.
could be wrong, but I believe that's what I heard, is that he's no longer able to mention her name.
Okay.
But that video, I my heart went to Cassie.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody, no man or woman, child, elderly person, should ever experience it. Unfortunately, we know that people go through this. And for those who are going through this, I just ask that you just please reach out to somebody, because there's someone that's going to be able to help you hopefully get away from this situation as much as possible. And people who are the abusers, get help, please. Please
Yeah.
just get help, because that's unexcusable. But I don't look. I have no ill will towards Diddy. I don't even know the man, to be honest with you, but that he needs help. Like, to me, he really does. And the only thing that bothers me is that this whole time you're talking about how innocent you are. Time will tell the truth. Oh yeah, time does tell all truth, and it's
Yeah.
sure enough
You know what
told
they
all
said.
true. So I think this was just his basically a plea to help save whatever businesses, or probably save his name, or whatnot. But he
Sponsorships. Yeah,
definitely
but
sponsorships, whatever it may
if
be.
he's lucky,
Exactly. So I don't know how truly apologetic he is.
Right.
He apologized, so I guess that's, you're gonna have to take it for what it is as of right now. But just young men, young women, growing up, like, there's no need for this. There is no need for this. We're not, 2-year-old little kids, throwing temper tantrums because we don't get our way. And even then, most of our parents say, don't you hit him or don't you hit her. We don't hit each other. That's not how you I don't know, get upset, or you focus your energy, your anger elsewhere. Go work out, go play a sport. There's more positive outlets that you could turn to, and you should never do this. But all in all, at the end of the day, I pray for both of them. I pray that both of them
Yeah.
are doing well, both of them are headed in the right direction. Cassie is married now with kids. She looks happy. So I'm so happy that she's doing good. And believe it or not, same thing for Diddy as well. I hope he's able to overcome all of these negative situations and turn into a positive, and maybe one day he could help young men and young women who may have anger issues, or just maybe on the opposite end as well. So just pray for both people in the situation. Just wish them both well. I know a lot of people will say, well, how are you going to wish him well? look, at the end of the day, he's human, just like all of us. So I don't agree with his decisions. I think his decisions were nasty and disgusting. But all we could do is just grow, and just try to be better humans moving forward.
Damn, and you got to wonder if there are more videos, not like this, but just more videos,
Mm-hmm.
just hurting his name, hurting his brand, if you will, because this was something that they thought they had hidden, and it
Right.
came, it surfaced and resurfaced. But I know we don't want to spend too much time on this, but Diddy, it's just it looks like it's a snowball effect for this guy right now,
Mm-hmm.
and he can hopefully that he can just somehow, some way, just stop it before get ahead of this before it gets too big, meaning that snowball, before it
Right.
turns into a boulder or something like that. But yeah, man, just if you're feeling like you're going, just to piggyback and echo to what Britt said, yeah, and then go out there and get help, because he's not a young man. I know when you're young, sometimes you do stupid stuff. I'm at
Mm-hmm.
fault for that as well. But you learn as you get older, and Diddy's old enough. He's in his 50s now, so he's old enough not to be doing stuff like this. He should be anyway.
Right. And look, we know the industry is crazy. So people think they powerful, they can get away with whatever they want. And maybe for a long time it may seem that way. But look, it's different time period now. So you
Yeah,
better,
cameras
people
everywhere.
out there,
Yeah,
you
everywhere.
need to clean yourself up, straighten
Mhm.
up, because that's over. Nobody's hiding for you anymore. Nobody's gonna lie for you. But it shouldn't even be about that. Overall, we should need to be better human beings and just treat each other with love and respect and understanding. So, but again, let's pray for both of them. And K Walk, you ready to talk some about some sports? Because that's what we here for.
That's what we do. That's what we do. Yes, yes. Let's do it.
That's what we do. Hopefully Jay pops in soon.
Mhm.
But we gotta get into these NBA playoffs. It's some surprises, I guess you could say. I know a lot of people, I know we don't do brackets for the NBA playoffs like we do for March Madness, but
That's
if we
funny.
did, most of our brackets would probably be busted.
Sure,
um,
sure.
for sure. But I'm gonna start with this team, and that's the Pacers, the Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks. As we know, the Pacers beat the Knicks 130 to 109 to advance to the
Mhm.
Eastern Conference Finals. Woo!
Yeah.
Did you, K-Walk, did you have the Pacers winning this series? But overall, what was your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, I did have them winning the series,
Mhm.
to the dismay of a lot of Knicks fans that I live around and I work with, as well, Britt. So it was hard for me to come into work, and then they asked me my prediction, and I give them my predictions, and I was spot on. I was all but one game in this series, but the Knicks
Mhm.
fans, they liked me on some days and didn't like me on other days, but nonetheless, and it's for obvious reasons. I mean, it's understandable, but yeah, I mean, this series, we can say that it had to do with a lot of injuries, because we're not going to put Randall, and we're not going to put Randall in the equation, or
Mhm.
I think well, we could put Marcus, Mitchell Robinson in there, because he did get hurt in that series against your Sixers,
Mhm.
and then they go down with OG as well. Then Brunson comes hobbling in with the foot injury as well. Didn't seem to slow him down too much, but it was a nagging injury. Then Josh Hart gets hurt with the midsection injury, the core injury that he had as well. So it just seems like that the Knicks weren't able to overcome overcome those injuries. But I think in that last game, they had an outstanding game there. I mean, the Pacers knew what they had to do. They executed.
Mhm.
They were healthy. They were deeper than the Knicks, and they knew that was the game that they had to win. There was no more going back to Indiana. If we want to go back to Indiana to play another game, we have to win this game. And they
Right.
came out, and Halliburton had an excellent game. Miles Turner had an excellent game. McConnell had they just played total team basketball. Heck, they shot
Mhm.
a NBA playoff history record 67% from the field, and there's no way that you're going to beat a team if they shoot 67% from the field. It was just, you go about
Yeah.
the numbers, it was just outstanding numbers, and they were just focused, ready to go. They knew what it was about. They overcame that Nick crowd, with those stars, those diehard fans were there, exactly. But overall, and then ultimately Jalen Brunson just, he fractured his hand, at the, latter part of the game. So that just goes to show you that what type of, I'm glad it wasn't a serious injury. I know it's a broken hand on his shooting hand, but that's something that, with the off season, you can come back. It's not a knee injury or lower leg injury or anything like that. So it's not something serious. He has to, miss any time, throughout the off season or the regular season as well, or training camp as well. But yeah, I thought the Pacers, outstanding job of being who they are. Just getting up and down the court, playing excellent defense, passing the ball. Don't let the ball stick into another guy's hands, and just ultimately getting it done. I mean, 130 points. What does that tell you? I mean, they were focused.
Yeah, it tells me two things. Well, we knew the end of year Pacers, just from watching them in the regular season, they move up and down the court. They move rather quickly, and they like to score. They're very good scorers in basketball. They move, like you said, they move the basketball around. They get everybody participating, or everybody touches the ball very well. To me, this team kind of goes how Tyrese Halliburton goes. To me, if he doesn't play well, then odds of the team winning, they may not win. He's their number one guy. But it also tells me the Knicks did not play any defense in the playoff series. You allowed a team to shoot 67% from the field. That's really unheard of. I don't care if we got injuries or not. Playing defense is just effort, right? It's just effort. Moving your feet, just giving your effort. They also shot almost 55% from 3-point range. I get it. The team could score. We know they could score. But my goodness, come on now. You got to step your game up, all right? Just a little bit. And I'm sorry, Knicks fans. I'm not the one to give you the excuse of injuries. Because not one let a Sixers fan say that in that first series. They gave it to us. So guess what, Knicks fans? It's time that you get it as well. Injuries is inexcusable. If your player is on the court, guess what? They're playing. It is what it is. You give all effort. If you injured, then you go sit down on the bench and don't come back out. Then maybe I give you an excuse. Maybe. But even then, I'm not going to give you an excuse, because it's always next man up. That's the mentality. That should always be the mentality. That gritty Cinderella story of the Knicks is gone. I didn't have the Knicks get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They got close, though. They got very, very close. But it didn't happen. And all that, that fake, like you said, that fake Knicks fandom stuff with Fat Joe and Pat Poose and all those guys. I'm calling rappers and stuff out. 50 Cent. I'm gonna call you out, but you know what? I'm gonna leave 50 Cent alone, because he shows love to other teams as well. Like I said before, the only real Knick fan is Spike Lee, because he is with that team when they win, when they lose, when there's draw, when they disappear, when they come back. Spike Lee has been a true Knicks fan in the history of the Knickerbockers. I swear. Everybody else, Stephen A. Smith, all that yah nonsense that you talking on ESPN, shut
seriously, man. Seriously.
Stop it.
Yeah, exactly. I see Spike Lee at games when I watch the Knicks games. It's Knicks Hornets. No one wants to see the Hornets play. He's there. He's there. I don't see all these other players, there, and all these other fans, all these other stars, I should say. Stop it, especially Stephen A. Stop it, man. Just stop it with that fakeness. My Knickerbockers, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this. Yeah, and then you blame it on the injuries. And just piggyback on what you said as far as the injuries, I don't want to hear about the injuries. Your Sixers were injured. Joel Embiid wasn't. He was at 75% at best. My Miami Heat, we didn't have Jimmy Butler. We didn't have Terry Rozier. I mean, the Bucks didn't have Giannis. Didn't have Dame for a couple of games, 1 or 2 games there. So we don't want to hear about the injuries, Knick fans, because you weren't the only team that were derailed, by getting too deep into the playoffs because of injury. So we're not hearing that. We're not hearing.
Yeah, I completely agree. So sit down and come join us on the couch and watch the rest of the playoffs. And besides, where did y'all come from? We ain't hear from y'all in 30 years, however long. Y'all make it to the second round of the playoffs and that championship ring. Get a clue. Get a clue. Let me get back to the game, because now You know, K-Well, I got some people
I
I got
know.
to call out. I'm
All right.
trying to figure out if I should call them out now or later. You know what? I'm going to call
Yeah,
them
you
out
got your
now.
right. Yeah,
We,
right.
we waiting for Jay, so I'm going to call him out right now. This is one guy. He's a DJ in New York City. I'm calling out right now. He's been my friend since high school.
Oh.
If you don't know, he goes by DJ June Gemini, aka DJ June Billions. He's a popular DJ in New York. DJ June Gemini. Check him out on Instagram. He tried to call me out after the Knicks and the Sixers lost. I'm minding my business. I get a DM. He tagged me in some nonsense. Well, should I tag you back? You got them tears rolling down your eyes like that Michael Jordan meme that's been going around forever. You call me out. Now I'm gonna call. Now it's my turn to call you right back out. Because the Knicks, like I said, ain't done that. Nothing has not been seen, has not been heard of in the last 30 years. And y'all act like y'all ain't got no sense. You better get it together. Get it together. Because yes, I like the team. I respect Jalen Brunson. But next year is a different animal. Just letting you know. Teams are getting healthier. Teams are going to be back. Things are going to change. Next year is going to be a little bit of a different animal. And nobody's going to be surprised by you guys anymore. Just letting you know. I got a couple more people, but I'm going to leave that alone. Scrolling through and all of a sudden I see Knicks. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to get my early rant out. I probably don't need one early later on. But no, it's going to be interesting. I think the Pacers, if they could just step up the defense, and I think they have over the course of this series, coming from where they was coming from in the regular season. We always talk about their offensive efficiency, how good they are on the offensive side of the ball. But I really think certain games this series, the ones that they needed to win, they really showed like, hey, we could step up our defense when it comes down to it. And I think they did that in the series. Do I still think they have the best defense in the playoffs? No, I think they may struggle a little bit against the Celtics and stopping them on the scoring end. But I don't know. I don't think they'll have a problem scoring at all. So that's their thing. All right, guys, let's move on. Before we move on, I do want to say, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Sideline Speaks. Also, we are on Twitter, aka X. Yes, I still say Twitter. I know it's known X, but at Sideline Speaks, and anywhere you can get your podcast. And if you comment on the show or ask us a question while we are live on our show, we will do our best to reply back to your comment or answer your question. All right. So we're gonna move on to the next game. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Woo. Ant-Man. Minnesota Timberwolves came back to beat the Nuggets after being down 20 points in the third quarter to advance to the Western Conference Finals. And if I believe that's one of the biggest leads to come back from. I don't know if it was NBA history.
Game 7
Game 7 in NBA history. This is when it matters the most. K-Rock, what was your thoughts on this game and just your overall thoughts on, I guess, the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I mean, I once my Heat were eliminated early, I immediately, you go to another team like who you want to see win, the championship. Who would you like to see, hold that Lombardi, that O'Brien Award, excuse me. I'm a football mode, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, the O'Brien Award. And I immediately went to the Wolves here because of Ant-Man. He's a young guy. A lot of people talking about, compared to Jordan comparisons. That's not why I went to him. I just never got a chance to see this young man play into the playoffs, because they played on the West Coast. So late games for me. So I didn't get a chance to really watch him. I see some highlights here and there, the dunks, the blocks, things of that nature. But just watching him, go throughout the game, on both ends of the court. I thought this Wolves team was outstanding, and then they came in as the number 1 ranked defensive team coming into the playoffs. They showed that in that game 7. I'm watching this game, Britt, and I kind of fell asleep when it got up to about 20 points. But then I woke up. And I saw them starting to come back. And I said, "Oh wow, okay, they got it down to 15. They can get down to 10. We might have something here." And then they got down to 10, and then they got it to single digits. So I immediately popped up. I was like, "Okay, I'm up for the rest of this game. I'm up for the rest of this game." So yeah, and they had an outstanding game, and they just kept responding. And what I was impressed with, not impressed with, but what it relieved about is you finally saw Cat come to play, and you finally saw Rudy Gobert, the regular season Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year, if you will, show up, and Cat finally showed up and gave some support to Ant-Man. And then you got Conley out there. Conley came out there and gave some really quality minutes, for that team. There wasn't too long ago that Mike Conley was actually the highest paid player in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys remember that. But that was a long time, not a long time ago, but not too long ago.
I think it was with the Jazz then, wasn't he? With the Jazz?
I forget who he was with. Might have been the Jazz, but I remember talking about him being the highest paid player in the NBA. It was short lived, but it was there nonetheless. But anyway, he contributed highly there. And then everyone else contributed as well. Then Ant-Man just took over late in that game and just showed, the dagger, just the poise, that cold-blooded killer. And that's another reason why they compare him to MJ, when he smelled blood in the water, he attacked, and he didn't, hitting threes, taking the ball and giving the ball up and getting it right back and then going to the basket and playing defense as well. So yeah, just an outstanding overall performance by that team. Love watching this team, young team, hungry team, very funny team too. If you watch their press conferences, their post game press conferences, they're very funny. You could tell they get along with one another, and that plays a big part into team success as well.
Yeah,
if you guys can get along in the locker room, then it's going to transition to to on the court as well. So just an outstanding young team. And that's why I picked them to win. That's why I want them to win. I'm still going to pick them to win as well. But yeah, just great team ball on both ends of the court for this squad for sure.
Yeah. I fell in love, once my Sixers went down, which I knew my Sixers, to be honest, I knew they didn't have a chance. I'm like, Embiid is injured. D'Anthony Melton can't even play. He's our best defender when it comes to the guards. Robert Covington, although he's older, he still could have some defensive capabilities. May not give you much on the offensive side, but you signed him for the defense. So once I seen that, I was just like, yeah, the Sixers don't have a chance right now. So I attach myself like you, K-Walk, to the Wolves. I keep telling you, Ant-Man to me is the face of the NBA, or he's becoming the face of the NBA once LeBron is gone. I know a lot of people want Wemby to be there. It's just something about Ant-Man and his tenacity and just him as a person, his personality just attracts people. And he even said it, I think it was before game 6. He said, he told a lot of the Nuggets players, we'll see you in game 7.
Game 7, we'll be back.
And that's exactly what he did. But what I like about this team, what they showed me more specifically in this particular game, is that when the Ant-Man is struggling, he struggled this game. He only had 16 points. The rest of the team can lift them up. And that's what you need as a team. Your role players are the most important or most vital pieces in a playoff basketball game. Yes, you have your star players to give you the majority of the scoring if they're playing well. But the stuff that matters the most is what the bench is doing, is what, that third, fourth, fifth man behind your 2 star players are doing. In this game, they really showed up and showed out. Jaden McDaniels, my goodness.
Oh, yes.
He gives it to you on both sides of the floor.
Great call there.
They're their 2 best defenders is Jaden McDaniels and Karl Anthony Towns. Surprisingly, I didn't even know Karl Anthony Towns could play defense that well. He's showing effort. Like I said, defense is effort, and that's what it is. Rudy Gobert, he played much better this game, but I'm gonna still say I think he's an overrated defensive player of the year. I don't care what nobody says. It's just that he's big and long, so they give it to him.
They could have gave it to Wemby. It was all right if they gave it to Wemby too, but
I would have been fine with Wemby. I would have been fine with Wemby because I think Wemby can guard more than just a 5. You know how I am, K-Walk.
Yes, I do.
But like you said, Mike Conley, he came in, he showed up, he brought in his veteran experience, which is very important to such a young team who's still trying to grow together. But the overall chemistry is incredible. Naz Reid, he's the hustler of the team. Yes. Right, so he's not the greatest scorer, but he'll hustle you. He'll get the putbacks and the the rebounds or whatever in a moment
Dennis
and
Rodman
that you
like
needed
guy.
the most.
Yeah.
Yes,
Without
you
the
know,
antics. Without the antics, of course.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, and they came back 20 points. But this is why I always tell people when I watch the NBA, sometimes I don't even watch the first half of the game. There's no need for me to watch the first half of the game.
Right. You're
Second
right.
half, that's when both teams turn it up. Or one team's going to turn it up and the other team is going to think they don't have to make any adjustments. And I think this is
Right.
a prime example of what happened with the Timberwolves. To me, who wasn't really playing themselves in that first half, turned it up, made the necessary adjustments. The Nuggets felt like they could win with the same gameplay, or you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't work out for them. It did not
Yeah.
work out for them. But I have another question for you. Did the Wolves win or did the Nuggets lose? I know this is a question that's been going around. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Brett. You know what the popular answer is, or the consensus answer is a combination of both. I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to take that route. I'm going to say it's the Wolves, because I think the Wolves, as you mentioned, you clearly mentioned that the games are won in the second half. We all know, watching NBA, that NBA is a game of runs. Every team makes a run in the NBA game. We've seen, I don't know how many countless amounts of teams or games that people have been down 20, 25, so forth and so on, have come back and won this game. When you look at the first half of this game, you mentioned as well, Britt, that the Nuggets seem to be the aggressor. They seem to be the ones that were doing the bullying. Second half, it was, it completely turned. The tables were turned. The Wolves were the aggressor, and they became the ones that were both being the bullier, if you will.
Right.
And that's why I say that the Wolves won it, because they won it in crunch time. They did it when it mattered the most. Not so much. And as you mentioned in the first half, it doesn't really mean anything. It means a lot, but it doesn't mean everything. Second half means everything. The Wolves took over that second half. They became the aggressor. They became the dominators, if you will. And that's why I say the Wolves won this game, because they did it when it mattered the most.
Yeah, I agree. That's my same answer. I think the Wolves won. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know a lot of people are saying, no, the Nuggets just lost. No, the Wolves are a pretty darn good team.
Yeah.
And they shown that throughout this entire series. And matter of fact, they showed me that they were the better team. In a lot of ways, more ways than one. Where do you think the Nuggets go from here? Do they just regather themselves for next year, or do you think they have to make some changes potentially to get back to where they were a year ago?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that every time a team loses or gets eliminated from a team from a playoff series, it always, you always ask that question. What type of moves do they have to make? Who do you have to bring in here? I just think that with the Nuggets, they just they just have to be themselves. They just have to be who they were last year and be who they were in those three games. That the third, fourth, and fifth game of the of that particular series was when they were down, and then they showed the heart of a champion. They just have to be the champions. They have to get back to the championship mentality, the championship ways, and not just lay down for anyone. I mean, and that's what they ultimately did. I think the pieces were set in place for them to make another run. Obviously, they were one game away from getting to the Western Conference Finals, so I don't think they have to make any drastic moves. I think the only move they really have to make is just focus more, play better down the stretch, and play better when it matters the most, and be who you are. Again, in crucial time. So I don't think they'd have to make any drastic moves by any stretch of the imagination, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think they have to make any drastic moves. I think if it was one thing I think they should do, bench play. Of course, most NBA teams, they have to, get the try to increase their scoring coming off the bench as much as possible. I think their starting five is fine. Again, I did say, and I remember we did our list, K-Walk, and I had Jamal Murray, I think, at number 2. I believe I put him at.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
What was it, like most important players in the playoffs or something? I said, and I said the reason why, and I put Jokic at 4. I know people was like, what? And the reason why I said that is because we know what Jokic is going to do. We know what Jokic is going to do. But I said that because in order for this team to win, Jamal Murray has to make sure he does what he's supposed to do as well. I think he did it in the last game, but I think it was the game prior that they lost. He didn't perform too well, and that was one of the reasons why they lost. So,
Yeah.
but I think overall, just you have your two guys. You got Michael Porter Jr. You have Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cavis Caldwell Pope is going to stay in that fifth spot, but just trying to get more of a better bench play coming in, and I think that'll help them get back to where they were maybe a year ago. But again, now you're fighting fighting with teams who may have more money to
Yeah.
offer a lot of these players. So, but I agree with you overall. They don't have to do anything too drastic. Just get back to the drawing board and just figure out and get a whole off season back starting again.
Yeah, but you make a great
but
point there as far as the bench play, because if you look at some of these teams, i.e. the Knicks, the Knicks were a team who Thibodeau had like a 6-man, 7, 8, maybe an 8-man rotation going on. He had Hart playing. Hart played like I don't know how many minutes, for like 6 straight games or 7 straight games. I forget exactly the number. He played almost 48 minutes in that game, and then and then you look at all these other guys who played extended amount of minutes as well, and then you wonder why these guys are hurt, because they're not getting rest and they have to extend themselves, and he doesn't trust that bench. But you got to give these guys the rest that they need. Just like the third game. The third game of that series, going to just go into the Pacers, and I'm talking about the bench play, ladies. Just I'm going back to this game, the series is that I felt like Jalen Brunson had that foot issue. They won 2 games. They were going to Indiana, and I thought that they should have rested Jalen Brunson, because for one, I thought no matter what, the Pacers were going to win that game, which they ultimately did. I thought that they gave Jalen Brunson a little bit more rest. Just rest him that game. He's out for that game. You're still going to go. You still held serve at home. So you lose 1 game in Indiana, you lose 2, which you ultimately did. Then you go back and you have a refresh Jalen Brunson. Now you can win that 5th game, that 6th game, that 5th game, that 6th game, which you ultimately did. Of course, we see the outcome of that. But I just thought that they should have handled that, and I think you need more depth. You talked about the bench. I think you need more depth when it comes to making a long run. Look at the Pacers. I think the Pacers are very well equipped to make that run because they have more depth than anybody else. And then what's up, Jay? And then you have Ant-Man and all those guys playing extensive amounts of minutes. And then I think it's ultimately going to take a toll on these guys. So yeah, you make a great point there about these bench players, being more involved and getting some of these bench players and being more quality for these teams.
Because you hey Jay, what's going on?
What's going on, Britt?
We just talking about the bench play, the importance of bench play when it comes to the series, and how it potentially negatively impacted the Nuggets, the Knicks against the Pacers, and then we seen it against the Sixers versus the the Knicks. Prime example, when they sat Joel Embiid down, it was like, okay, why are we even playing at this point, right? If Joel Embiid can't play the entire game, there's really no need to play this series because you can't win. You're not winning without Joel Embiid. It's just not happening. And that's every time that happened, the Knicks either won a game or they made their comeback every time he sat. So the bench is very, very important. But guys, yes, Jay is finally here. Jay, I just want to go back a little bit just to get your thoughts real fast. So we did talk about Diddy earlier. We had to get our extra our current events.
I didn't miss that part.
Oh, my bad.
Had to get your current events, but you got some thoughts. You want to throw it out there and your thoughts on his apology and what transpired. If you want to throw it out there real fast.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, your mic sounds like you're far away from your mic.
Oh, my bad. I had my wife set this up, so
okay, all right.
Blame her for having the mic turned the wrong way. but I'm pretty sure it was probably in line with what you guys said. Obviously, the video was just horrifying, right? Disgust. I mean, whatever adjective you use for it, I 100% agree with the video. I mean, it's just absolutely awful. The issue that I have with the apology, Britt, and I'm all about people apologizing and all that kind of stuff, but my issue with it is it was like a month ago or something, like when Diddy came out and he was kind of being boastful and braggadocious and sort of taking a stand like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? And then when the video surfaces, all of a sudden now you're sorry. So it just feels like I'm sorry that the video got out, not I'm sorry about what I've done. And to be honest, I mean, it doesn't see, when you see something like that, it's hard for me to believe that that was just a one-off incident, if you're willing to do something like that, kicking somebody when they're down, slamming somebody on the ground like that, that's not your first time. So I have a hard time with the apology, and, whatever's coming his way, he deserves it.
Yeah. I mean, I know I said earlier, I think he just apologized to save face. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because he's a father of 3 daughters, I believe. Yeah. So it's just like, come on, you don't want that to happen to your daughters. So be the father figure that they need, because they're looking at you as representation of what a father should do.
No doubt.
So I just hope and pray they never seen him do that. I mean, they seen the video, unfortunately. But hopefully they know that's not the right thing.
Yeah.
Because we don't wish that on any woman, any man, any child, and like I said, any elderly or any animal. Stop just abusing anything.
For real.
Stop abusing anything. So, but Jay, we also talk about the Pacers game 7 victory against the Knicks and the blowout that it was, just to get your thoughts on that.
Incredibly impressed with the Pacers and the way that they came out in that game. And look, when you shoot the ball as well as they did in that game 7, they're going to be a hard team to beat. Then when you look at it from the Knicks side, I mean, it just felt like they were hanging on by threads. I mean, everybody was getting injured. Yeah. You appreciate the effort by like OG Anunoby to come out there and want to play. But honestly, I felt like that almost hurt the Knicks more than it helped them, because even though he made a couple shots early, he really couldn't guard anybody. So a lot of those Pacers were scoring on him, and then that was just boosting their confidence. So the Knicks were beat up. They gave the best effort they could, but look, the Pacers came out and did what they had to do in a game 7. So I was really impressed by that.
All right. So me and K-Walk, we answered this question earlier, and it's not a lot of Knicks fans, just like most fan bases, but really Knicks fans right now, they're saying, oh, we were hurt. Oh, we were that. Are injuries an excuse?
I don't think injuries are an excuse, but I do think that sometimes they can be a reason. Like I don't think there's any excuses. You lost, right? But I do think sometimes they can be a reason. Like, for example, Britt, like with the Sixers, like if Joel Embiid's not healthy, obviously the Sixers aren't going to be as good. Now, nobody's going to say, oh, that's an excuse. Don't use an excuse, but it is a reason why they're not as good. So listen, yes, the Knicks were beat up. Yes, that's a fact. I mean, it's a fact, but at the end of the day, you still weren't good enough to get it done, and you lost. So look, injuries are part of the game. Everybody's injured at this time of the year. No one's completely healthy. So it is what it is. It's just a part of sports. So no, I don't think you can use it as an excuse, but sometimes it can be a reason.
Jay always coming up here with philosophical positivity forms of thinking. We just want to hear, no, Jay, it's not an excuse.
What'd y'all say about that? What'd y'all say? No excuse.
We don't, like, no as a Heat fan and not no Jimmy Butler, no Terry Rozier, I wasn't hearing it. I wasn't having it. And Britt, as you mentioned, Joel Embiid, and she wasn't hearing it either. So no,
no excuse.
Milwaukee without Giannis, no excuse.
Yeah.
Right.
But a reason. Right.
It is a reason. So I mean, it does make a valid point there. And then, I had to come at the Knicks fans because they came hard at me. So just letting them know that they sitting right next to me, on a couch as we watch all the other teams. And then just your thoughts on the Timberwolves coming back after being down 20 points in that third quarter to beat the Denver Nuggets to advance.
I think both of y'all said last week that you thought the Timberwolves were going to win in 7. And I was like, there's no way that's happening. I was shocked because they beat Denver at Denver's game, like late in that game when it was time to execute, when it was time to play mistake-free basketball. Minnesota did it better than the defending champ. So I think you got to give them a lot of credit. Also, too, the fact that Ant-Man didn't have a great game and some of the others really stepped up and played well. Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, some of those other guys, they played really well when your superstar didn't have his best game. That's something that they can really carry into these Western Conference Finals. So I was super impressed. And this matchup we got coming up, that's going to be a lot of fun, Dallas and Minnesota.
Absolutely. So speaking of that, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. So I'm gonna stay out of this one, but I'm gonna present the question to you guys. I didn't watch the Mavs one, OKC, and I'm a little annoyed because that was one of the better ones out of all of these, probably outside of the Timberwolves one. They won. I know the Mavs won by 1 point, but as we know, the Mavs beat OKC 117-116 to advance to the Western Conference Finals. Give me your thoughts on that game. Again, unfortunately, I got to sit myself out. But for you guys, what were your thoughts on watching that game? And then, do you think the Mavs can get to the finals? Or I guess we could kind of preview later when your segment, Jay, but I mean, it's not too early to ask. Do you think that you get a path to the finals? Jay, I'm actually going to start with you first.
Look, I'm kind of sitting with you, Britt, in terms of that game 7, because I did not see a whole lot of it. So I don't really have any particular thoughts on that individual game. But what I will say is, like, I don't necessarily love the way that the Dallas Mavericks play basketball. Like, I know they have 2 superstars in Luka and Kyrie, and I know they have some other players that really, do all the little things that help make a basketball team go. But for me, I'd love to see them play a little bit more as a team offensively, and just not so much of, all right, I'm going to go this time. Now you go. Now I'm going to go. Now you go. I'm just not sure that can win it all in the NBA. So that would be my concern for them going forward. Can they get to the finals? Yes, because I mean, even though Minnesota knocked out the champ, they're still a young team. And, it's going to be, it's going to be a really tough series. I don't even know who to pick in this series yet. So can they do it? Yes, Britt. But if I had to make a choice right now, I think I'm leaning Minnesota in this one.
I'll hold my answer later. But no, just to give my two thoughts on kind of somewhat what you said. I agree with you. I'm not really big fan of how the Mavs play neither. I don't like that one-on-one type of basketball. I would say I did appreciate them stepping up their defense a lot more on the defensive side. But I think overall, like you just alluded with the Timberwolves a little bit, I think the Thunder was just young and inexperienced. They don't have a lot of playoff experience. But for them to take a Mavs team with a Kyrie Irving who has a lot of experience, who has a championship, along with a few other players who has a lot of playoff experience as well, to take them to a game 7 and basically almost win, maybe even should have won and probably should have won, to me is incredible. And watch out for them next year because they're only going to grow. They're only going to get better, and their chemistry and their bond on the court is going to improve drastically. So, but K-Walk, your thoughts on this game 7 and if you think the Mavs can get to the finals?
Yeah, I mean, with the OKC, I was a little skeptical about this particular team because, even though they were the number 1 seed in the West and the number 1 seed, I think, and the youngest number 1 seed in the history of the NBA playoffs, when you have a guy like SGA, the MVP, you say they have a chance. You have a healthy Chet Holmgren as well. And Chet was very impressive to me in this series, especially the last game. But I just thought that Kyrie, and I love the way Kyrie does. Kyrie kind of plays hide and seek with you, if you will. He hides in the bushes for that first half. And that second half, he pops out and he's like, okay, here I am. And you have no adjustment for it because you're thinking that he's going to be the same player in the second half that he was in the first half. And that's not the case. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, why doesn't he do this all game? But I get it now. I get it. And, that's what makes you, a special player. It's just not, you don't have to be great all the time. You just have to be great when you need to be, and I've said that so many times on this show and various other shows as well. And he shows that he saves it for the latter part of the game when it's most important. And we talked about that with the Wolves and the Nuggets, being important, making the best plays, the better plays, at the right time. So yeah, as far as the Thunder, SGA, and those guys, I think you're right, Britt. I have to agree with you there. Is that they're young? It's a learning experience for them, and they're going to understand what they needed to do, what they didn't do. They're going to go back and watch the film as a team, and they're going to see what we didn't do in that last game, and what we have to improve on. Do we have to bring another piece in here? Things of that nature. They'll figure that out. Now, as far as the Mavericks, man, I mean, I just think you have Luka, you have Kyrie Irving, as I mentioned. They're two great scorers. I don't know if they have enough size, for Minnesota, to be honest with you. And I think the way that the Minnesota plays defense, I think it's going to be too much. I know Ant-Man's come out and he's challenged. He said, I got Kyrie. I don't know if you want to bite on the tail of a dragon, if you will, or pull Superman's cape, if you will, too early, because he's going to come out there.
Right.
And, but that's the type of guy he is. He has that confidence, and he obviously has the athletic ability to do it. But I like Minnesota in this series. I just think if Cat plays and Rudy Gobert plays the same way that they played in Game 7 against the Nuggets, they'll be just fine. And then Ant-Man, does what Ant-Man does. I just can't see them losing this series. And I do definitely like the Wolves. As long as everyone if everyone plays their A game, both teams, I like the Wolves in this series.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Wolves as well. I think their size could also be an issue. With Gobert, Rudy, and Jaden McDaniels. He's not a small guy as well. Ant-Man at the 1, I think he plays the 1-2, something like that. He's not a small. I think the smallest guys, right? The smallest guy is that Mike Conley, maybe.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even think does he start? I don't know.
Yeah, he starts. He
does start
at the 1. Yeah.
So he starts at the 1, and Ant-Man is usually at the 2 then.
Yeah.
And they're very good defenders. When they want to play defense, they're very good defenders. So I'm gonna go with the Wolves. But we got a couple comments in our comment section, I guess you could say. And it's from our guy. First, he said, "Hey, Brittany, however you want to pronounce it." Accent over my E, so that's why I said it that way. What's going on, Man Down Sports? So that's Man Down Sports, guys. Their show's on Friday. Please check them out. Such a great show. It's a fun show. Actually, he's throughout the week. But he talks a lot of sports, just like we do. And he also said, Luka is the worst defender in the league, but somehow had 0, 0, and 1 in the first 3 games versus OKC. How do you not pick up fouls when they are targeting you and you can't? I'm assuming that means it's supposed to be lift your feet
or move your feet. Yeah, one of the two.
Move your feet. Okay.
Yeah.
How you can't, and somehow you can't move your feet. All I'm going to say is he's a star. He gets the whistle. We all know how to, or doesn't get the whistle on the defensive side, but we all know how that goes.
Right. That's what it is.
And he cries a whole lot.
That's why I'm so glad. I couldn't stand Luka. If I saw the Luka and Jokic Western Conference Finals, would not have watched one game of that.
Yeah.
And then on the other, he also said, on the other hand, the best defender on the floor, Lou Dort, averaged 5 fouls a game and fouled out twice. I have no respect for the mass Western Conference Finals appearance. This is what I say about the NBA. If you're the star, whistle tends to go your way. That's all I'm going to say. Whether we agree or disagree, unfortunately, Man Down Sports is Mel, by the way. Mel from Man Down Sports. Unfortunately, I'm with you all the way. And this drives me insane with how the NBA goes. That's why I've been watching a lot more WNBA recently, and I'm just loving their games. And that's actually my next question. So we're going to flow right into that. But that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, my motto is everyone gets fouled in the NBA, but no one fouls. If that makes any sense, everyone gets fouled, but no one fouls.
You remember back in the day when guys used to raise their hand when they would foul somebody?
Yeah.
Like you don't ever see that anymore. I mean,
now it's like what?
You don't ever see it.
Yeah.
Exactly. By the way, guys, this is Ginger Ale. Okay, It's no fuzz. Let's make sure we clear. But no. So my next question before we head into break, guys, it's the WNBA season. It's still the very beginning of the WNBA season. Again, if you can, WNBA stream or league pass is $39.99, and it may have went down a little bit since the season has already started. Sometimes they'll prorate it for you since you not at the beginning of the season. But I just want to get your general, not necessarily any particular players. If you want to shout them out, that's fine, because I know we may talk about a player later. But just your overall general thoughts on a WNBA season thus far. K-Walk, I'm gonna come to you first.
Oh, just outstanding, man. I mean, I'm loving every minute of it. I watched the Fever and the Sun game last night, and I'm sitting there and I'm having all this stuff on TVs that I have on here, and I said, you know what? The Liberty are playing. I said, oh my God, my Liberty are playing, because there was so much hype around, Caitlin Clark and everything like that.
Right.
So I got, ladies and gentlemen, I'm guilty. I got caught up in the Caitlin Clark wash, if you will. So yeah, I when I'm looking at everything, and what I found myself doing as well is I didn't realize how many players in the WNBA I started following on Instagram. I'm like, whoa, okay. This player, I'm like, oh, okay, that's okay. I got a ton of them, ladies and gentlemen. So, but yeah, you mentioned players. I can't name just one that I want to talk about, Britt. But yeah, just the overall body. We talked about this last week. The overall body of this product is getting more and more attractive to me, more and more intriguing each and every game. I even start putting some money on it. I even start betting on the WNBA. That's I know. I gotta calm down with that. But nonetheless, it's fun. I mean, it's really fun. It's a really fun product to watch. I love the ladies. I love their competitive nature. You guys know me. I like Caitlin Clark in Iowa, but I want her to grow up a little bit, because she still got those antics, and she is getting beat up in the first 3 games. So welcome to the WNBA for sure, Caitlin Clark. But yeah, overall, just loving it. Just loving every single player as well. The different attitudes, the different the different personalities, if you will, that they bring to the table. I love to watch them off the court as well. They're involved in so many different things as well. So just a great product, and I'm loving it more and more every week, or every night, I should say.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I've been watching it mainly. That's why one of the reasons why I missed that Mavs game. One of the reasons. I was also out, but I've been into it, I think, more than I have been in a while. I think once Maya Moore kind of left, I kind of took a break from it for a while. And now I'm back full force. It actually started maybe like a year or so after Asia Wilson got in. But it's fun. Like K-Walk said, it's competitive. It's exciting. The refs will let them play.
Physical. Very physical, man.
It is extremely physical. Prime example, like K-Walk just said, Caitlin Clark, she got screened a couple times, and she hits a brick wall and drops. They screen her hard. And it's not just that game. We see it in a lot of other games as well. But I know we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark a little bit later, so I'm not going to get dive too much into her, but I got to shout out Cameron Brink. I know one game she didn't score, but that rookie could play. She could shoot from the outside. Did you see the block on Asia Wilson?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Surprised she didn't get called for a foul.
She didn't. See?
No, she's a track foul. She's just a foul magnet. I don't know what it is about her.
Right. So I'm just like, man, Asia Wilson. This is her lead. This is Asia Wilson is the face of the WNBA right now at this moment. So for a rookie to go in there with no fear and say, I don't care, you could score 30 right now, but guess what? I'm about to block the crap out of you. And she sure enough blocked the mess out of her shot and kept going. So Angel Reese has been doing her thing. It's been a couple other players that's also been playing very well as young rookies. So I'm just overall excited for the game and where it's headed. But yeah, it's really got me excited. But Jay, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you guys. A couple things jumped off the page to me. Number one, the defense. Like after watching some of the NBA stuff, then jumping over to a WNBA game, like these ladies defend every single possession. Like they're not waiting until the second half to decide to play defense. So defensively, that has really jumped off the page. And then, as you guys mentioned, the physicality of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, they are really out there getting after it. So those things jumped out to me. And Britt, you're right about Angel Reese, because I had questions about her like coming into the season. Is her game going to translate? Is she going to be able to score, just because she's a little bit awkward down around the basket? But I think she's averaging about 11 points a game, which I would say, you know, for the first 3 games, that's pretty good for her. So she's been a pleasant surprise. And then I know I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not mad that they partnered with Skims either, because I love those little commercials that come on.
Everybody wears Skims. Everybody wears Skims.
I'm enjoying that as well. So WNBA gets 2 thumbs up for me.
Every man mentions Skims.
Everyone wears Skims.
Y'all better thank Kim Kardashian for that one. But one more comment, and again, we'll save a lot of our Caitlin Clark comments for later. But Man Down Sports said the W looks really good. Caitlin does not. We're gonna hold off on that because I know we're gonna talk about Caitlin on the other side, so we'll hold off on that. Just wanted to shout them out for that. But all right, guys, we're gonna head into break along with our fascination, or their fascination with the Skims, not mine. I'm just kidding.
Reach out to them. We'll see get some sponsorships.
I take Kim Kardashian. I will wear your Skims. Well, not on the show. That's a little inappropriate. But you know, I just like I got Skims on. But yeah, we'll sponsor with you. But no, you guys, we're gonna head into break now. Again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Sidelines Speaks. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. We would greatly appreciate it. Again, if you are watching us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and you comment or you ask us questions, we will do our best to answer your comments and questions right here live on the show. We are also on Twitter, aka X, at Sideline Speaks, and anywhere you could get your podcasts as well. But you guys are watching The Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Brittany Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.
All right, welcome back to The Sideline Speaks. Brittany Jones, Kevin Walker, and Jason Collins. Let's stay on the WNBA and more specifically Caitlin Clark right now, because I do want to kind of get you guys' thoughts on just how she's been over the first few games. They haven't won a game yet. They seem to be getting a little bit better each time. And look, they've played some of the best teams in the league. They've played New York twice. I think they played Connecticut twice. So the league didn't do them any favors by giving them 2 of the best 3 teams in the league to start the season off with. But just specifically on Caitlin Clark, K-Walk, how do you think she's been? What's your sort of grade or evaluation of her performance over the first few games?
Yeah, I think you're just seeing a player who's adjusting to the game. And we said this when she was still in college, and we talked about it, what her game transitioned to the WNBA. And I do think she's doing that very well. I think she's taking steps. She's getting better each and every game. You can see that points wise. I know she has a lot of turnovers now. I think she has 26 turnovers in the first 3 games. She's coming off of that ankle injury. Britt and I talked. We mentioned the physicality. We all mentioned physicality, or those screens and things of that nature. So she's got to talk to her teammates. Say, give me a heads up. But at the same time, you got to keep your head on the swivel. It should only take one time for you to keep your head on the swivel. But nonetheless, I think she's doing a great job. I think she's professional. I think she's a competitor. She is a baller, regardless of how bad she's been playing. She's going to learn. She's going to be in the film room and she's going to be watching the video room, whatever they call it nowadays, Jay. But she's going to sit down and she's going to understand what the intricacies of the game is about. What she has to do. Hey, she's still taking those logo threes and making them as well. So she's not shying away from that. She's still being Caitlin Clark. But I think she's starting to realize that this game is a little bit faster, a lot more physical than what she's used to. And again, she's taking progressions. I think she's getting better and better. You can see from the first game against the Suns to the second game against the
Mhm.
Suns. I know there was the Liberty were in there as well, and she understands that they're going to come out there and they're going to focus on her, making sure they're stopping her. And what I love about the Fever is they're allowing her to be Caitlin Clark. They're not saying Caitlin Clark, you adjust the system. They're telling the system to adjust to Caitlin Clark. She's bringing the ball up. People are guarding her 94 feet. So, and she's handling it well. Again, she's getting better and better each and every week. She's still a rookie, and she's going to go through those, those rookies. She's going to hit those, those stumbling blocks, if you will. But I think overall, she's getting better and better. And so right now, I give her a C+ right now.
C+.
But I think that's C+. But
Okay.
I think she'll be all right going. You actually this next week, and that grade might go high.
Yeah. That was one of the things I was kind of watching for. Like, were they going to let Caitlin Clark be Caitlin Clark and kind of play the way she wants to play, or were they going to sort of have her adjust to a system and adjust to the way that they wanted to play? Some of those games early, they had her playing off the ball a lot. They were letting some other people bring the ball up the floor. Last couple games, she was a little bit more ball dominant. So it'll just be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. But Britt, what are your thoughts on Clark so far?
Everything basically K-Walk said. I mean, she's a rookie just trying to adjust to a new game. It's unfortunate that a lot of pressure is going to be on her because, what the media basically made her seem like they made the face of her coming out of college, going into the WNBA, saying she's going to be the next big thing, maybe the Steph Curry of the WNBA, so forth and so forth. And you heard it from a lot of WNBA players. We're not just going to hand it over to you. Diana Taurasi was being the first one. She's going to have to earn it, and that's what they're showing her. She's going to have to earn it. So I think, as you could see, like K-Walk said, the first game, she looked very out of sorts. She looked like she wasn't very certain. I'm going a little bit into the second game, but the last game, she looked a little bit more sure of herself. So she's slowly but surely adjusting. And they're going to be physical. This is not college. These are grown women. They're stronger than you. They're bigger than you. They're just as quick, if not quicker, than you are. And then their intelligence, they're wise on the court as well. So you're competing with the big girls. Normally you say big boys, but the big girls, right? So give her some time. Let's see where she is, over the course of the middle of the season. But I'm be honest with you guys, if it's me and I'm the coach and I know that, she probably could be the primary ball handler, I kind of like her more as the off-ball guard or the off-ball, kind of move her around, set the screens for her, because she has that shooting ability. With her being a primary shooter or the primary ball handler, her trying to get off her shot right now may be a little bit more difficult because they're doubling her or because they put so much pressure. You keep her moving, coming off the screens, she may have a little bit more room to get her shot off. And when she's hot, that girl is hot.
Yeah.
She showed it a little bit the last game. And I think the last game, they had her playing a little bit more off ball, if I can recall. I kind of like that role for her. And of course, you switch it back and forth. You have her just, switch it up on the defense. So I think if she taps into that a little bit more, we could see her excel much faster. But again, it's all about adjusting to the game.
Yeah. And the interesting thing too is, like, I think she realized pretty quick that some of those passes that she threw in college weren't going to get through in the WNBA. People are just a little bit too long, a little bit too quick. So some of that stuff's not going to work. But the other thing too, maybe the thing that I think she has to work on the most is defensively. She's been a little bit of a liability on defense. Like, there's been some times where teams have just outright targeted her defensively and said, I don't think you can guard. And so I think she's going to have to get better on the defensive end. So it's interesting because I think she's learning the WNBA and the Fever are learning her all at the same time. Because last night when she was out, she kind of dinged her ankle a little bit and sat for a while. They actually played really well when she was on the bench.
The same thing, Jay.
So they just have to figure it out together. But I think, for the first 4 games, I mean, the thing to her credit is we would all sit here and say, look, she hasn't played her best basketball. In some cases, she hasn't played well at all at times, but she's still managing to get 17, 18, 20 points. What's it going to look like once she figures it out? So I think the future is pretty bright for her, and I do think she's going to figure it out. So
yeah, Jay, I think before it's all said and done, she's going to learn how to put on her big girl skims and then be ready for the game, if you will.
I think, but she's gonna have to. I don't know how, but I watch her defensively because you guys know I love my defense.
yeah,
Her first thing is her footwork. My goodness, her footwork on defense is garbage. You got to move them feet quicker.
yeah,
Move them feet. You know, they teach you this in elementary school. You know, first of all, don't cross over your feet. Why are you crossing your feet over? You slide. You get down low and you slide, put your hands up. First of all, nobody in the WNBA or the NBA seems to want to put their hands up anymore, which makes no sense. You know, one hand's in the passing lane, the other hand is covering over the ball. So, but yeah, she moves slow on that defensive end. So you make a valid point. But Jay, we got a couple of comments I just want to get to before we move on.
yeah.
Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. What's going on, KSAP? KSAP from Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. We did not forget about you. We were actually on a little hiatus for a few weeks, but we definitely did not forget about you. So yes, we got to get you back on very soon.
You know, I didn't forget about you, but he's going to be on. He's going to be on tomorrow night. So you know,
nice.
Oh, so there you go. But he said she has been a negative 37. She has been on the floor for the first 2 games and 4 games, negative 28.
Yeah.
So again, that's all about adjusting, you know, getting right. She's gotten better. She's definitely starting to improve. He also said she's adjusting slow process. The physicality is affecting her right now. Boy, is it affecting her right now. Man Down Sports came back and said Caitlin is going to be an all-star soon, but that savior of the NBA is going to prove to be false. She is John the Baptiste, and Juju is you know who.
All right.
I like that right there.
But if I can recall, didn't they try to do the situation with when Diana Taurasi was coming out as well? It was in a similar situation. She was supposed to be the savior and this, that, and the third. So I'm just hoping they could just use these young players just to get people more interested in the women's game, because again, the women's game to me is the right way of playing basketball. Every female is skilled. Almost everyone could play defense because they have to. They can't lean towards the dunking if they can't shoot. No, they have to know how to shoot. If not, you better learn. If not, you'll see these good players that's getting cut easily. It's not a lot of teams in the WNBA. They can't play around with the least talented ones. So there it is.
You know, the other thing, and I don't know, I always look at, I like to see if how people's legs feel. Like if are people leg heavy, do their legs look tired and stuff like that. I don't think the WNBA does some of their rookies, especially the ones that go deep into the NCAA tournament, any favors by starting the season literally 4 weeks after they're done playing college basketball. You go through a whole college season, you go deep into the tournament, you make it to the finals, you're playing 38 minutes a night, and now all of a sudden I got to turn around and play another season right away. And to me, she looks a little bit leg heavy. She just hasn't had any time to rest and recover. So again, not an excuse. I mean, it is what it is. That's the way the league is set up, but she does look a little leg heavy to me, a little slow of foot. And I don't know if that's just how she looks compared to some of these professionals, or if maybe her legs are a little bit tired from a long college season and then rolling right into the WNBA.
Yeah, not an excuse. It's just the reason.
It's a reason.
The reason, son.
All right, y'all. Let's move on a little bit. I want to talk a little bit of NFL football here, just because I'm hearing about these Jets so much. Jets, Jets. Everybody's talking Jets. I'm hearing Jets are a Super Bowl contender. They've gotten better. Aaron Rodgers. I'm hearing all this stuff about the Jets. So, K-Walk, are the Jets a legitimate Super Bowl contender?
Jay, you know what? On paper, they look like they can get it done. We all know that the names are there. We see, the Aaron Rodgers, the The Garrett Wilsons out there. I think they brought in, I forget who else, the other receiver, but the list goes on and
Mike
on.
Williams.
They did a great job. Mike Williams, we know his history. We know his movies. He can't stay healthy in any of those movies that we've seen. So we looked at they brought in an offensive line as well. But they have a tough schedule. I mean, they have the AFC East. They start off with my 49ers, and as I mentioned, and I'm going to stick by it, ladies and gentlemen, barring a major injury to the 49ers, they're winning the Super Bowl next year. I'm sticking by it. It's my story, and I'm sticking by it. And you're going to go in there, and you're going to see what they look like against the 49ers. If they can go in there, and if they can beat the 49ers, it's a Monday night game. Aaron Rodgers may have some flashbacks. He got hurt last year on Monday night against Leonard Floyd. 49ers signed Leonard Floyd, so we'll see how they look. Maybe a psychological edge, there for the 49ers. But nonetheless, I think on paper, when you look at them, they look like a Super Bowl contender. When you look at the AFC, the AFC is stacked. We said that last season, and we talk about the Chiefs, the Ravens. The list goes on and on. I mean, you name all those. The AFC North in general, just the AFC North alone are contenders. So, and then you got Buffalo, you got the Dolphins there, with the Patriots aren't there, but they're a playoff team for sure, Jay. A Super Bowl contender. I'm not going to say a Super Bowl contender. I will not go there by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay. Britt?
Will Aaron Rodgers get past the fourth snap? I'm sorry, knock on wood. No,
get past the first.
Yeah.
Oh geez. What are they? They're in the AFC. Where are they in?
AFC East with Buffalo, Miami. East. And who's the other team?
Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots.
Forgettable.
Actually, you know what? I mean, look, I think they're a contender. Will they get it done is another question, but that's for most teams, right? So we think a lot of teams are contenders, but can you get it done? Can you hold that trophy at the end of the day? In the last couple of years, only been one team to do that. So they have the team to do it. I think with them right now, health will be the biggest factor. You just signed a Mike Williams, who is known with the Chargers to not stay healthy. Like, he just cannot stay on the field. You have Aaron Rodgers coming back from a major injury last year, although he got some incredible, magnificent treatment. He's still older. Let's see if that treatment, right? Let's see if that treatment holds up. What is able to do. I'm curious to see what their offensive line looks like. I know they went out and signed some free agent offensive linemen. I think they drafted a couple, so I think that's the biggest question for me is still that offensive line. I know they traded for Hassan Reddick. I think that's a nice addition for them to help their defensive line. But I think, if I can recall, they lost someone in that secondary. I can't remember his name, and he was a big impact for him. He's a young player. I'm not sure exactly who it is, but I don't really have a concern with the defense. I think the defense was fairly solid. I think it just comes down to that offense and the health of the offense. Can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? Can that offensive line protect them? Oh, that's right. They did go out and sign the former Cowboy Tyron Smith. He can't stay healthy. Like, he cannot stay on the field. So it's like, what are we going to do? Mike Williams, again, I just mentioned him earlier. So I'm still concerned about the offense. If everybody could stay healthy and everybody could play to their full potential, then I'm putting them right up there. I think they could win, or they will win the NFC East. I really think it's between them and I guess the Dolphins, but I'm gonna go with the Jets in this situation. But just because you win the division, that don't mean you're going to get to the next level.
Yeah.
So again, to me, it comes down to health, and they got a lot of players that get hurt a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we'd probably all agree that they have a championship level defensive football team. I mean, they've played good defense the last couple of years. And you're right, Britt, the O-line is a concern. They brought some people in. They drafted Olu Fashanu out of Penn State, I think with the number 10th pick, something like that. So, but he'll be a rookie, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly he can get things going. But I guess my question, like, if you look at Aaron Rodgers, and nobody is disputing his talent, But when he was young and healthy in Green Bay, he only managed to sneak out one Super Bowl. So you're telling me now at 40, 41, coming off an Achilles, like all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers is leading the Jets to a Super Bowl? I'm not buying it. So I know the media is on them and everybody's excited, but I'm going to say no. I don't think they're a contender. I'm not even sure they win the division because I think Buffalo and Miami are both going to be really good. I'm not even sure the Jets win the division, but in terms of the Super Bowl, I just don't believe a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers coming off an Achilles is going to get it done because 28-year-old Rodgers wasn't even getting it done. So I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, but that's why they play the games. That's why they play the games. Speaking of some of these rookies, K-Walk, can you give me 2 or 3 guys that you think might have the biggest impact coming into the NFL this year? 2 or 3 guys that might just kind of, I don't want to say set the league on fire, but will be very impactful.
Yeah, I think, I know this is going to kind of sound contradictory to what I've said, but I think I'll put Caleb Williams up there. I know I said that I don't have a good feeling about him, but I'm going to put him in there because I think he's surrounded by, a great cast.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned the receivers, the running backs, the tight ends that they have there, and the defense as well. And with that NFC North, I think this, they arguably could be the one of the best divisions out there. You got the Lions, we got the Packers, and you also have the who am I missing there? The Vikings. I don't know about the Vikings with their quarterback situation, but nonetheless, it's still a competitive division nonetheless. So I'll give it a little. Caleb.
They got JJ. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, he might be dynamite. You're right. He might be dynamite. You're absolutely right. JJ might be dynamite. So
right.
Yeah, but it's what they have around them as well. So I think they're coming back. All of those teams, with the way that they ended their seasons last year, I think they're all coming back fiery, without question. You know what? I don't want to sound like a homer, so I'll go somewhere else here. I'm gonna go with my. Let's see, who else do I have out there? Because there's so many.
I know you like
there.
That receiver out of Washington.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I do. But I'm going to go with Keon Coleman, the receiver from Florida State, from Buffalo.
Yeah.
From Buffalo. I'm sorry, Britt. This guy is he's got a great personality. I love his personality, man. And he was on my list of receivers, that I mentioned. I labeled him as a game changer, a 50-50 guy. He seems so confident. He seems so, just ready to go. He's set in, and he looks like, he's been there for about 2-3 years. So I'm going to go with Keon Coleman, excuse me. And we mentioned the Bills, possibly winning that division as well. We got a new Josh Allen has a new weapon there, and I think they're going to click immediately. They'll get to work immediately and get to work. And I don't think they're going to miss Stephon Diggs a bit if this young man can stay healthy without question. So I'll go with Caleb Williams and Keon Coleman.
Yeah. I think even though you're right, because we both kind of felt the same way about Caleb Williams, but I think just from an opportunity standpoint, he's going to be one of the ones that has the most opportunity. They already said this guy's a starter. I mean, every play is going to run through him. So if you're just taking odds, he's going to have an opportunity to make a huge impact. Now, will he actually get it done? We'll see, but he certainly has the tools around him. Britt, what say you? Who you got? Couple rookies that might make a big impact?
Really, K-Walk said both of mine. I think for Caleb Williams, like you guys said, is the people around him, and they have Keenan Allen over there now, and they have DeAndre Swift over there. They came back and drafted what's his name, Rome Odunze. Which he's an incredible receiver as well. So he has everything basically set in place, as opposed to what the other quarterbacks that were drafted may or may not have. So but he's one. Keon Coleman was my other one. I'll try to come up with some different ones. Only because he's going to be Josh Allen's number one right off the bat. They no longer have Stephon Diggs. He's going to be Josh Allen's. And like K-Walk said, they love him there already. He had that personality. And I'm with you, Keon. I'm a Macy's girl myself. They be having no sales. Trust me, sales will get you. But just to come up with somebody else, as I'm looking at this list, I don't know, Xavier Worthy. He might have a big impact, you know. They looking for that speedster over there in KC, and you got Pat Mahomes, and Pat Mahomes will get you the ball. All you gotta do is to catch it. It's all you gotta do. Just catch the ball. He's gonna give it to you. So I see him getting a lot of those balls over there. Pause. I don't know if that was the right word, but I'm not a male, so I don't care.
Yeah, football.
Right. He's going to be catching a lot of the balls. They're gonna be right there for him to catch. So, but I gotta give some love because we're gonna go straight offense. I had to give some love to somebody on the defense. I just don't know who right now. My goodness, who was Dallas Turner? I know he was drafted. I can't remember who the heck he went to though.
It's tough because they picked like 15 offensive players before they even got to a defensive guy.
They did. You know who might do well? Who's the first guy that went Latu? Latu, whatever his name is. I can't remember. I think did he go to the Chargers? No, not the Chargers. Was it Indiana?
Right.
I think
I'm not sure.
I think he went to the Colts, one of them. But the linebacker or the edge, I think he came from, was it Notre Dame or something like that? I don't know. Look, I can't remember nobody's schooling. I think he might make a huge impact. I think his biggest concern was I believe the neck injury. You know, they would force him into retirement and he was able to come back. I don't know if he'll end up being the best defender in the draft in the later years, but as of right now, I think he's one of the most ready defensive line players in this year's draft, and I think he can make a significant impact now. So I'm gonna go with those guys.
Yeah, I'll throw one more defender in there. A little bit of a homer pick, but I'll go Chop Robinson out of Penn State, drafted to the Dolphins. He can come off the edge. I mean, he is an absolute speed pass rusher, so I think he'll have an opportunity to make plays on third down. None of us mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe because we all just think he's going to be Mr. Consistent. I don't know, but I think he's going to be an every down receiver, so he's certainly going to have an opportunity to make plays as well. So I'll throw his name into the hat also.
You know what, Jay? I was going to say Malik Neighbors, but I don't trust Daniel Jones. So
yeah, you got to have a QB. You got to have somebody throw it to you.
Trust them,
and that's definitely part of it. All right, y'all, we're winding down, but before we really close this thing out, I do want to jump back to the NBA just for a minute because we do have the Eastern Conference Finals starting tonight, and then the Western Conference Game 1 is tomorrow. So really, I want to know who wins tonight between the Pacers and the Celtics, and then who is your pick for the series. So who takes Game 1, and then who's going to win the whole thing. And in terms of the series, because we'll be back on presumably before the series is over. I think they're going to play every other night, but we should be back on before it's over. So you can reserve the right to change your mind, I guess, depending on how the first few games play out. But K-Walk, who you got winning tonight? As it looks like Boston is up 12-0 right now. So that could be a telltale sign. And then who you got winning the whole series?
All right. You know what? Gracious. I just looked. I just peeked. I didn't even realize it was that score. But I mean, for this game, I mean, obviously, I'll take the Pacers in this game. You know why?
Tonight?
I just think, I'll take the Pacers in this game tonight. I just think that they'll get it done. I just think that the Celtics rely too much on that three. They don't have Porzingis tonight, and I think that the Pacers are a resilient team, and they'll wear you down. They've known to come back. They've done it in that game. I mean, that series against the Knicks. They may be a little winded because they played 2 days ago, and the Celtics had a few days over. So it's all about rest versus rust right now. Obviously, the Celtics don't have rust. I'm going to go. I'll take the Pacers in this, but I will take the Celtics in this series. I want the Pacers to win, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to play both sides of the fence here. I'm rooting for the Pacers, but I think the Celtics will ultimately win. But I'm going to give it to the Pacers, even though they're down 7 now. So they're on a 7-2 run right now. So we talked about it earlier, Britt. NBA is always a run there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go the other way tonight, K-Walk, because I don't know. I just feel like coming off of a grueling 7-game series and then turning around just with 1 day off in between. Like, I just don't know that they're going to have the energy to win tonight. So I'm going to take Boston tonight, and I'm going to take Boston to win in 5. I just think Boston's better. I just think Boston's better. I'm going to take them to win in 5. So I got Boston tonight and Boston with the gentleman's sweep. Britt, what say you?
I'm just trying to figure out which Celtics are we going to get tonight. If Celtics play how they should play, I'm gonna go with the Celtics tonight. I know the Pacers have momentum going into this game a little bit more. Celtics have a little bit more rest, but I don't know, something with the Celtics team that if they play to their capabilities, even without KP, they're just a better team than the Pacers. I know the Pacers can outshoot a lot of teams, but their defense is trash, and I just seen what they just did just now. But no, I'm gonna take the Celtics tonight. Ooh, Tyrese Halliburton hit that three.
Man.
He made me want to change that answer. You know what? Forget it. I'm gonna take the Pacers. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna take the Pacers. I do have the Celtics winning the series. I have them winning in 6 actually. Okay. I think the Pacers are going to get a couple games. Crap. Should I change my answer back? No, I'm keeping it.
You want to keep changing your answer for 3?
First
shot, babe.
No, I'm gonna take the Pacers. It depends on Tyrese Halliburton. If Tyrese Halliburton keeps shooting like that, I think the Pacers could take it. And I'm gonna just go off the momentum that they had after beating the Knicks. So, but I think the series is going to be the Celtics. Overall, the Celtics I think are just too much on both sides of the floor for the Pacers.
Okay, let's go to the West, where to me this is the more intriguing series. I'm not sure which way I want to go in this. We know Ant-Man came out and said that Kyrie was his matchup, and I think athletic-wise and length-wise, that's going to be very interesting to watch him guard Kyrie. But then does that mean Conley's going to guard Luka? Because I don't love that if that's the case for Conley. Like, I feel like, so that they're going to have to figure out how they want to do that. But K-Walk, who wins? Let's do the same thing. Who wins tomorrow night, game 1, and then who do you got winning the whole thing?
I got Wolves winning tomorrow night. I think they win their first 2 games, and I think the Mavs do the same thing. I think we're going to have somewhat of a similar series that we did with Pacers Knicks, where everyone holds home court serve until that 5th game. We all know that 5th game is a deciding game right there, deciding factor. I think the Wolves win that, and I think they win, and they ride that momentum, and they win in game 6 as well. So I got the Wolves winning tomorrow night, and I got the Wolves winning in 6.
Yeah, I think I'm right with you, K-Walk. I got the Wolves winning tomorrow, and I think they do get it done in 6. Again, I'm just not going to pick Dallas because of what I said earlier in the show. I just don't like the way that they play basketball. And I feel like there was a time, in the recent past where in the NBA, if you had 2 stars or 3 stars in some cases, like that was a winning formula. I just don't believe it is anymore. The benches just aren't good enough when everything revolves around just a couple of players. I think Minnesota is going to be deeper, and I think offensively they play a little bit more of a team game, and that's just more appealing to me. So I'm with you. I like Minnesota tomorrow, and I like Minnesota in 6. Britt, who you got?
Jay, so I don't think Mike Conley is gonna guard Luka. I think that's when you bring Jaden McDaniels down. He's gonna guard Luka.
Who will Conley guard, though, is the question. Because that's going to be interesting.
A lot of doubling going on. It's going to be a lot of doubling going on.
Yeah.
A lot of zone.
Because if Ant-Man really does take Kyrie, and like you said, Britt, if they bring McDaniels down and put him on Luka, I don't know who that leaves. I mean, I'm not super familiar with their starting lineup, but
Ant-Man said he was going to take a Kyrie after game 7. Yeah, that doesn't mean he's going to do it.
That doesn't mean it's true, right?
Coaches might say, hold on. Kyrie. Yeah. He may get him in some crucial points of the game, but I don't think he's going to get him for the full game. So I can see Conley's going to be on it for the majority of the game.
Yeah. I mean, because Mike Conley's a little small, so. But it could also be a situation where the coaches say, you know what, we need your leadership. But you're not going to have a whole lot of minutes this series because the matchup just might not be right for him.
It might be right for Call.
Side. So that is a possibility. But no, I'm with you guys on this one. I have the Wolves winning that first game. It's just something about this team. And then Ant-Man, that's his person. It's his personality and way he brings off that charisma type personality. And he's just going through with that momentum from the last game. You hear him in the press conference as is. He's gonna have to get some PR work, but I like it. I like that competitive nature. Got to watch the language a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, he's 20, so you're good. That's what they got them edited buttons for, right? And the delayed broadcast, so they can edit those things.
Right. So you go to YouTube and watch the real thing, or Twitter and watch the real thing. But no, I just like their size. They have shooting, they have defense. And if Ant-Man is on, it's really a tough matchup. And I have a lot of respect for the Mavs because of Kyrie Irving and what Luka could do on the offensive side, although it's awkward as heck. But I don't know if they could slow this team down. This team might be a little bit too big for them. And I know there's experience means everything, but it just seems like the Wolves have momentum and just, I don't know. It's just something like, it feels like this might be their year to get to the finals. Not necessarily to win it all, but get to the finals. But I have the Wolves winning game 1. I have the Wolves winning the series in 6.
You know what, Britt? It would be incredible if the Wolves pulled this thing off and Ant-Man won the finals at 22. I mean, because in a way he'd just be skipping the line. Like Jason Tatum's been trying to win for years, and he's like, "No, I'm cutting the line." Luka, I'm cutting the line. Even like KD and Book, like everybody thought, oh, Phoenix is going to know. He sent them home too. So like if Ant-Man can get it done and cut the line and win one before a lot of these guys, that would be a pretty neat thing. So I'm kind of pulling for that. Like I don't really have a dog in the fight, but Minnesota's kind of the team that I'm rooting for right now.
Can I say something real quick? I know it's completely off topic, but you kind of brought it up, Jay. Phoenix with Katie. I kind of knew that wasn't going to work. Like I seen the writing on the wall with that when they signed Bradley Beal. I'm like, this to me is not going to work. And I know they're trying to still hang on to those 3 guys. I'm basically, they don't have a choice. How you gonna get rid of Bradley Beal's contract? I don't think that's gonna work. I really don't.
Nope, I agree. They gave up everything for 3 guys. They have no depth, they have no bench, and they play no defense. So I mean, you ain't winning nothing like that. So I'm with you. That's why I got off of them. They used to be my team. I'm done with them. But let's go into our rants, guys. Every week we want to give everyone a minute if they have something to say, something to get off their chest. You just get 1 minute to say whatever you want. Could be positive, could be negative, could be a PSA, as K-Walk likes to do sometimes. Just whatever's on your mind. So, K-Walk, I'll start with you this week. If you got something for us, what you got for your rant?
Yeah, I had one, but Britt kind of alluded to hers earlier, so I'm gonna let her keep that one, if you will, if you were watching a little earlier, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna go with this is a little off time. I know we don't talk about NASCAR racing too much, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't know if you guys saw that fight between Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The fight after the race. All right, these guys were talking to each other for like a good and again, I'm off with the time, but they were talking to each other, arguing about what took place in the race, cut me off, that type of deal. They were talking about a good 30 seconds to a minute, and then Kyle Busch decides to just punch this guy in the face. No one saw it coming, and he decides to just punch this guy in the face, and then both crews got into it. My rant is, come on, Kyle Busch, but don't do that, bro, man. Just if you're going to punch this guy in the face, if your intention was to punch this guy in the face, just lead off with it. Just come in there and just lead off with it like normal race car drivers do, like normal fighters do. Just come in there and punch the guy in his face. He was sitting there talking. They were calm. No one had any issues. No one was stepping in front of them, anything. They were talking like 2 grown men, you would think. They were talking like 2 grown men, and he just comes out of nowhere and punches them in the face. So Kyle Busch, man, come on with that, man. You got to be better than that, man. Just lead off with that, but just lead off with the punch, man. You got to be better than that.
Yeah, I am not a fan of the sneak punch. Like, either fight me or don't. But don't make it seem like we're talking, and then all of a sudden sneak one in on me. Like, that is not right.
I think that's a punk move. That really means you scared. You scared, hoping to knock the guy out, and it's over.
Yeah. He's got his guard down. He's just talking. He's talking like a grown man. Like, yeah, I get it. Wow. What? Wait, where would that come from? But anyway.
But that also tells you, Ricky, stop trusting everybody.
That too.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, K-Walk. Mine, I'm gonna go at Mike Malone here, and I don't want to come at him too hard, but I mean, look, I get it. You lost the game. You're emotional, but just because you're emotional, it doesn't mean that the reporter asked a stupid question.
It was a great question.
It was a good question. It was a fair question. Yes. There was nothing wrong with the question about
what was
how
the
does
question?
it feel. He asked Mike Malone like, how did it feel like being up 20 and giving up that lead and losing it in game 7, which is a fine question. They were up 20. They gave it up. They lost. And he's like, oh, that's a stupid question. Like he just let the reporter have it. So Mike Malone, look, I get it. It's right after the game. You're emotional. Defending champ. You lose a game 7 on your home floor. But come on, show some respect to these reporters. And look, sometimes they do ask stupid questions and sometimes they do deserve to maybe get talked to like that, but this was not one of those cases, Mike Malone. You got to be better. That's all I'm gonna say about that one.
And to piggyback on that a little bit, Jay, because that's a great rant. I like that one. He's got to come out and apologize to that reporter, because that was a legitimate question. It really was a legitimate question.
Yep, we're still waiting on that apology. I don't know if it's ever going to come, but he was definitely wrong with that one. Britt, you got something for us this week?
I basically said it earlier. The Knicks fans, you're crying now, aren't you? And it mainly came after all those daggone celebrities who are so-called from New York, and you'll never hear anything about the Knicks for the last 30 years. All of a sudden, they get to the second round, just the second round, guys. It's not the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not the finals. It's only the second round, and they celebrating like they done won 5 championships in a row. If you don't sit your butts down somewhere and act like you got some daggone sense, this goes out to Fat Joe. This goes out to Pat Poose. This goes out to Stephen A. Smith. I can't remember the white actor that was constantly standing up and in everybody's face.
Ben Stiller, probably.
Was it Ben?
He
Yes.
was there. Yep.
I think it was Ben Stiller. This goes out to all those people, and including the fans partying in the streets. Like, what have you done? You haven't done anything. So go back into hiding with them rats in the subways. Go sit down somewhere.
Yep.
Okay.
And did I go too far? I mean, New York City is infested.
Well, then again, I'm not in the city. I'm about 35 minutes from the city. But when you talk about New York,
I mean, they are infested with rats, right?
That's what they say. I haven't been there in a long time, but that's what they say.
I don't know where you be at, Brad. You be in the subways? Huh? Unless you're in the subways, you ain't got to worry about it. The back alleys, you ain't got to worry about it. You go to the right part of the city, you're all right. You're all right.
Britt, do the Knicks feel a little like cowboy-esque, a little like with the way that they haven't won anything in a long time, but you know, as the playoffs roll around, those Knicks fans are really like, hey, this is our time. This is all year. Do they feel a little cowboyish of the NBA, or am I reaching on that one?
You might be reaching a little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to get somebody else to
Jay, the reason why I say that, look, Cowboys think they win in every single year. Like y'all, I don't know if you're part of that still. We'll figure out, I guess, at the end of the NFL season. Cowboy fans are delusional. They even say it's a tradition of winning. What tradition of winning? When?
Yeah.
Please tell me when. When?
You look like
30 years ago.
You know I'm a 49er fan. You know how I feel about the Cowboys.
What tradition of winning? But K-Walk, at least the 49ers, although their fans are starting to get on my nerves, I ain't gonna lie, but at least the 49ers have gotten to the playoffs. At least they have gotten to the playoffs. At least they got to the Super Bowl last year. They was in the Super Bowl just a few years ago, and a few years before that. They've gotten there. The Cowboys barely got past the first round. They won 2 playoffs games like 20 years. Stop it. Just stop it. So that's why I can't quite put the Knicks on that level. But if we're going into next year, then maybe I'll put them up there because they was a little outrageous this year. It's outrageous.
Yeah, they got excited, but I get it, but it's been a long time. Like the Knicks haven't won anything. I mean, not since we've been alive. Well, maybe, I don't know. When's the last time they won something?
70
In the
was
70s
it
something?
73?
So I
Was
don't
it
know. So
73?
it's been a long
Ooh, that was
time, but
That was like with the
we were
Flyers
not.
and the Broad
I
Street Bullies.
think we were not incubators, Jay, when that happened.
yeah.
We were in
Because but you're right, Brett. The Knicks fan, like the Cowboy fans, it's just a different. It's different. It's different. You're right.
Hey, let me just, with that being said, let me just get a shout out to Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart as well, because after the game they were coming out, leaving the arena, when fans were out there, they knew where they got out of their cars and they acknowledged their fans. They went down the row and they showed love to the fans that showed love to them. So let's not condemn them too much, because Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart did an excellent job, and they're Philly guys too. Mind you, Brett, they're Philly guys.
Nah, they're Villanova.
I know Philly guys. They're Philly guys.
Villanova. It's outside of Philly, right outside of Philly.
I know.
I'm playing hardball right now. It's all them.
They still have brotherly love, Britt. They still have brotherly love inside of them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're gonna be a fun team to watch next year if they can get healthy and see what happens with Julius Randle, because like he sort of left. When he got hurt, I feel like he was the number one or at least 1A. Now coming back, he's a clear number 2. Like that's Jalen Brunson's team now. So there's going to be some role reversal there when Randall gets back for sure.
But are they going to keep OG? I think OG is isn't he a free agent this summer?
Is he?
I mean, they have the money to keep him.
They better figure out. I think they need to figure out a way to keep him.
Yeah, they'll keep him.
Right.
We'll bring everyone back. Yeah.
Man, y'all might be right on this Pacers pick. They're only down 3. So.
Yeah, I had to switch that momentum. I was just looking like, wait, K-Walker, right? That momentum going from this game into this game might be something different, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, y'all, let's do Who's Ball, and then let's get out of here. Every week we want to shout out a team, a player, a coach, somebody who's just absolutely getting it done. K-Walk, who you got for us this week?
I'm staying right there, man. Staying right there. I'm staying with the Pacers right now. I'm coming off of that 7-game game against the series, I should say, against the Knicks. They show their grit, they show their toughness, their depth, their togetherness, and you can see it here. They were down 12-0 when we first started talking about this game. Now they're down 6, potentially down 9 or 8, whatever it's going to be. But yeah, I'm going with the Pacers, man. They're just absolutely balling in that first series, the second series against the Knicks, and they're playing together, man. So the Pacers have been absolutely balling.
Good stuff. That's a good call, Britt. Who you got?
I'm going to go with oh man, I don't even know, to be honest. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna switch things up a little bit. I'm gonna go baseball. I'm gonna go with the Phillies.
Okay.
Surprisingly, they got one of the best records in the national. I'm sorry,
the best
in the major league. Yeah, the best record in Major League Baseball. I'm shocked. I wasn't too sure about their bullpen, to be honest with you. I still think they kind of struggle a little bit, but they came out blasting baseballs after that Atlanta Braves series. It's like they got on each other in the locker room and they just took off from there. Granted, though, it's still a long baseball season. It's 162 games or whatever, but I'm happy. I'm proud of them. Keep it up. Hopefully they can stay healthy. Hopefully Trey Turner is able to return very, very soon. But man, the Phillies have been balling.
Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't watched much baseball, but the Phillies are my team this year. Oh, Lord. All right, y'all. I think I'm
a player. Name 2 players outside of Trey Turner.
I wasn't even gonna be able to name him, Britt. You gave me him. I don't know any other players yet, Britt. I don't know any players on the Phillies yet, but I will. I will come fall. I will.
All right.
I'm gonna be a homer. I'm gonna go with my Las Vegas Aces. We started off this season 3-0, playing great basketball. Got a great squad. Missing Chelsea Gray. She's still recovering from an injury, but we haven't missed a beat. Vegas Aces absolutely getting it done, balling.
Okay, can't be mad at that.
Can I shout out one person?
Yeah.
We gotta talk about her. I think they have 1 or 2 wins this year. That's my girl, Teresa Witherspoon, the head coach of the Chicago Sky.
Yep,
she got
she's
that
cool.
young team really playing hard. Angel Reese, she's got everybody playing hard on that team.
Yep,
really hard. That last game to me was incredible. I think Angel Reese made some crucial rebounding and putbacks that helped the lead, cause them to win that game. But I just love Teresa Witherspoon. I loved her as a player when she was at the Liberty. She played hard, and you could see it that she's instilling that in her players as well. So I got to shout out Teresa Witherspoon.
good call.
Is Cardozo still hurt? Is Cardozo still hurt?
Yeah, she
Yes.
hasn't played yet. They said something about she's a fast healer, so she's gonna maybe be back a little sooner than they thought, but she hasn't played. She hasn't played yet.
Gotcha.
All right, good stuff there, Britt. K-Walk, let the people know where to find you and what you got going on this week.
Yeah, yes. You can find me on Facebook, Kevin Walker, Instagram, Kevin.Walker142, at Kevin Walker142 on the X, Twix, whatever you want to call it, Twitter. And you can find me tomorrow night on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio, wherever you get your podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sports Talk with K Walk and E Scott. Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. Our good buddy K Sapp is going to join the talk. You guys are always welcome to join. I always leave the gate open for you guys, so please join in tomorrow night. Got a great one dialed up for you, ladies and gentlemen. Got a new segment. It's called Knucklehead of the Week. So we're going to talk about who P. Diddy may make that segment, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll talk about that for
sure. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We each have one of our own, so we'll talk about that. So we're introducing a new segment again. That's Sports Talk, K Walk, E Scott. Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. What I'm looking for, just basketball playoffs and more WNBA as well. And the Memorial Day weekend, got an extra day off. So happy Memorial Day to everyone out there as well.
Yeah, good stuff there, K-Walk. You guys can find me at Jason Talk Sports on TikTok, Twitter, or X, and Instagram at Jason Talks Sports. I'm looking forward to these NBA games, man. Obviously, conference final, so it should be a lot of fun. WNBA, we talked about that a lot tonight. I'm watching as much of that as I possibly can. And then for me, guys, Thursday, it's my last day of work. Summertime is here, so looking forward to this week being over. So I can get a lot
of group text from him, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna be texting. I'm gonna be on everybody's show. I got nothing but time on my hands coming up next week, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Britt, what you got?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, aka X, at I don't know if I should say my proper way of saying my name, or people keep telling me to say it the proper way, but at Brittany Monique or at Brittany Monique. There you go. Same difference. But no, I'm looking forward to WNBA getting started. I love the physicality, the competitive nature. I'm just loving the basketball again. The NBA was getting me away from loving basketball. The WNBA is bringing me right back to it. The playoffs and the OTAs and NFL is soon arising. So OTAs, which means mini camp, which means training camp, is coming back. So yes, I'm one of those that look forward to the NFL offseason programs, because I follow everything that the media's put out there, the teams put out there. I want to see it all.
All right, good stuff, Britt. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, share it. Tell a friend. We're doing everything we can to try to grow this channel, so we appreciate any help you can give us. We'll be back here live next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So for Brittany Jones, Kevin Walker, I'm Jason Collins, and we'll see you next week.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Brittany Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.